War Eagle, War Rapport family. I'm your host, C Dub. Auburn football picks up another commitment. We preview the tight end position tonight, and we take a look at Auburn basketball's recent exhibition win while on its trip to Israel. All that and more in tonight's latest edition of the Midweek Report. War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, War Eagle, War Eagle. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the latest edition of the Midweek Report, brought to you by show sponsor AuburnSports.com. For the latest regarding recruiting and all news involving Auburn athletics, please be sure to head on over there. Shout out to JG Tate and the guys for doing what they do on a daily basis. War Eagle to them as well. Also, War Eagle to you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Wednesday. Or if you're watching on replay, we greatly appreciate you guys supporting us. And one way you can do that is by sharing our content on social media. Please be sure to drop that hashtag. Let people know that we are live. Help them get in on the conversation. Help us grow our community. Smash that like button while you're at it. And if you're new to our channel, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, here's how you can support us financially. All right, take it away.
Yeah, you can get in here and become one of these here members. Member benefits are going to really be picking up as we get into the season. Y'all know how we do during the season. If you don't know, you will surely find out soon enough. But $5.99 is where you can get to patron level. Patron level gets you the absolute most from us, including things like film reviews. We've already got that film review up for Zach Calzada. I'll be doing some more film review stuff as we get into the season, just kind of previewing some more things that we can possibly anticipate, especially if I can get some stuff from fall camp. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, but hey, listen, anything's possible if you put your mind to it. In addition to things that you can be looking forward to, y'all already know Damari Austin sat down and talked with us. That's going live tomorrow for everyone. But the young man, Coy Moore, is live right now if you are a member. So make sure that you check that out. If you have your membership active right now, you can see that interview for young Coy Moore. As every show, we're giving away something. We're going to give away an AU t-shirt sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Go to wareagleoil.com for all of your automotive needs. War Eagle Oil is the place you can do that. But hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to enter this drawing today. Speaking of member benefits, it's about that time where we get into giving away tickets, and the Mercer game is coming up. We are going to be giving away tickets to this game. Is the wrong date on that graphic, but it is September 3rd, 2022. But we will be giving away tickets to the Mercer game. So you have to be a member this year to be able to get tickets from us. So we're going to give them away as a perk to our members. Free 2 tickets, courtesy of the War Report, to each game going to be given away. The first one's going to be Mercer. We'll be doing that member drawing coming up about a week and a half before the game. So make sure you guys lock in with that and get your membership current in order to make sure that you're in there for the drawing.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let's get into it, guys. We've got a lot to discuss tonight. We were waiting for some really good news coming out of Big Cat Weekend, and we did get some good news. Auburn got 2 commitments for the 2024 class, but one of the things that we were waiting on is to see who from the 2023 class was going to commit, and it happened today. Ashley Williams, who decommitted from Nebraska on Sunday, announces his commitment with the Auburn Tigers. Let's take a look at his information here. He's a Nebraska decommit, 4-star weak side defensive end out of Zachary, Louisiana. He stands tall at 6'6", 220 pounds. He is the 250th recruit in the nation. He's the 17th ranked recruit in the state of Louisiana, and he is 19th at his position. He is the 6th overall commitment in the 2023 class and is the 3rd Big Cat Weekend commit. He joins Wilkie Denaud as the 2nd 4-star edge prospect to commit within the past 2 weeks. Rock Bellatani is credited as the primary recruiter for Williams. Now, considering how important this pickup was, just want to get your guys' thoughts on this. I'll start with you, B. Will. How you feel about this one?
I'm glad to see them dominoes start falling. You know what I'm saying? We heard it. Everybody heard it. I mean, precise people were reporting all over the place. So to see the flip happen, because one thing, okay, so we hear things and then, you know, some people hear things when we hear them. Sometimes we hear them sooner. But we heard really good things about Big Cat Weekend and the impact it was having. I was going to be terrified if we came out of that weekend and none of that stuff happened. If that weekend only netted us 224 commitments, that's not quite the positive momentum that we needed. But one of the flips that had been widely reported happened. All right. Now let's go. We heard it. It happened. Now I want some more. I want some more. I want more flips, more commits. It doesn't matter if it's 3, 4, 5. As long as you're filling needs with guys who you can develop, that's what we need. And the coaches seem to be kind of keying in on that. One thing I'm noticing on a lot of, you know, with the War Report, we following all the college football sites and accounts and looking at like the Rivals recruiter account, right? And so it's like this person announces on this day at this time, and here are the 5 schools he's choosing from. Years past, it used to be Auburn would be one of those 5. You know how often Auburn was one of those 5 that got picked? We were always losing. The difference now is we're not in that group of 4 for the best wide receiver in the nation or the second best wide receiver in the nation. We seem to be focusing our time and our energy on recruits that we can get and that want to come here. That's one thing Ike said about, he was like, hey, you know, no matter who we want to get, people have to want to come here, right? That's the difference. We're focusing our energy on getting guys who want to come here and who we have a good chance of getting. There's no way you can expect to go out and say, hey, wide receiver, we haven't had a wide receiver go over 1,000 yards in like 30 years. You should come here. For what? Well, don't go to Bama. They got a Heisman winning quarterback, but don't worry about that. You've got to sell me something. You have to be selling me some objective reasons why I should come to your school. And realistically, Harsin knows this is why he said it at SEC Media Days. You got a lot to show. Like we're telling him, just watch. Now, defense, we're showing some stuff. Even before we haven't had like the best edge rusher we've had projected to the next level. I want to say probably D Ford. D Ford got to that second contract. I think that's the best you can do for somebody who comes through your program. We're going to equip you to do well out the gate and get to that second contract. And then that's on you. The rest is on you. Cool. Then we're set. D Ford did that. Maybe Holland should have stayed another year, developed a little more, but he was dynamite for that last year he was here. Derek Hall has a chance to be the one. The first one since D Ford to go. He's getting the acclaim preseason. They saw it last year. They saw those flashes. He said, I saw where I messed up at. I'm going to clean that up. Going to set some records. Everybody's looking for him to set those records. So when you go to an edge now, you say, hey, we already got a guy that's about to get out of here and go first 2-3 rounds. And you tell them that he's going to get exactly to where he needs to be, because partially you got a guy who recruited from college to the NFL, and he's going to be talking to scouts, telling scouts what they need to hear about you. I got to imagine that's a really big sell now, not only for the players, but for their parents. Do you realize when you come on campus for a recruiting weekend, you're going to meet the coaches, you're going to meet the other players. And then if I was Brian Harsin, the first person I'd be introduced to the parents, here's a dude who all he did was look for talent in the NFL. Let him tell you where he sees your kid going. What defensive coordinator in the NFL he knows would love to get a hold of your son. Man, that's program building right there. That's program building. I see it all coming together. I'm hoping it continues to come together, because I don't think Nebraska can match that type of expertise. Plus, it's also Nebraska, so it sucks up there. And yeah, we win. We win.
You're muted.
C,
you're muted.
My bad. Starkby says Bellatani is killing it. Thoughts on the job he's been doing? I mean, again, he was also very close to Keldrick Falk, who we missed out on a few weeks, been responded with these two guys in the past 2 weeks. So thoughts on what Bellatani is doing?
I mean, I think it just shows that despite what people think, Auburn's not putting all of their eggs in one basket. They're like, they have a board and they're just working their board. Like it's like draft, man. And this is the way you're supposed to do it. You're not just going to swing for the top guy. And if you miss, then you don't have a recruit that's coming in. They've got a board of people and they're working all of those people. They're putting, and that's why you get a robust staff so that you can work more than one recruit at a time. You don't have to put all of your resources behind trying to figure out whether or not this one person is going to recruit to you. You recruit them really hard. They commit. And what's clear is, what did you call it, B. Will? Dirty Macking? They are committed to the Dirty Mac because they I don't care if you recruited to, did you sign yet? Are y'all married?
Exactly.
If y'all ain't married, that don't mean nothing to me.
I don't see no signature on that paper though.
They don't care, bro. Like they just
said, if you ain't married, you're still single.
I saw you change your Facebook status to in a relationship, but
you got Nebraska in your bio, but are they in your heart though?
I hear you, but
are they on your mind?
Like, and so I'm glad that they're saying to themselves, it's not over until signing day, and they're committed to continuing to develop the relationships. Even to the point of continuing to develop relationships with people after they've signed to say, just in case you ain't happy. Well, that part probably ain't so open because, that's kind of illegal tampering. But, still, they're just going to be nice and be like, hey, just checking in with you. You doing all right? I noticed you was sitting on the bench I was watching the last game. You sit on the bench. You okay? You good?
Mm-hmm.
Little pat on the back. I love it, man. I love what they're doing from a relationship building standpoint and a commitment to say, hey, you are a guy that we want on our team and we're not going to stop pursuing you just because you told us no. It sounds a little creepy, but it's okay.
Thoughts on this, Mike G?
Yeah, I'm just not sure what everybody was expecting. Like, were they supposed to just stop recruiting kids just because they're not in the
apparently
front
they thought
runner?
that's what was supposed to happen. Yes.
It's pretty. I don't have a lot to say on this. We expected commitments to come in just later, and I just don't think Auburn is the school that you commit to super early in the process. But it's not what's happening is happening all over the country right now. There's a lot of kids who committed last year who are reconsidering those commitments this summer. And we're going to get some of those kids. So I expect more of them to come in. And, it's been said many times, Harsin said at media days, the message is watch. So they've got to go out there, put something on the field for kids to know what they're committing to. It doesn't mean that they can't sell a dream before. It's just more effective when you compare that with something with tangible on-field results. They've only got 1 year's worth. It also is, they're making up ground. These relationships aren't built overnight. The coaches that they're recruiting against have been former relationships with a lot of these guys for years. And you come in and now you're trying to undo some of that and get them to commit to your school. You have to have something compelling, for someone to come in at the last minute after I've been talking to this other dude for 2 years and you're a new coach in the SEC. I think that's why a lot of people wanted us to hire a coach with Southern roots, because you could hit the ground running a little faster, if those relationships are already established with high school coaches and in the region. But that's not what we got. So he's here. Let's just give him time to work the process and catch up in that regard. And, I think it's happening. So Ashley Williams will not be the last flip that Auburn has. And, again, I think that they're going after guys that they feel like they have a realistic chance of getting rather than star chasing, which was what I feel like Gus did, which is why so many of those guys busted. You're recruiting a guy at the top of a list. Bowden used to recruit like that. Tuberville stopped it. He was like, we're not going to go after a dude just because he's at the top of the list or because Bama's going after him or Tennessee's going after him. We're going to go after guys that we feel like are a good fit for our system. I think it worked out pretty good for him. So if Harsin is bringing that same energy, I think it'll work out here too.
Indeed, indeed. Well, we'll continue to monitor recruiting, especially the fallout from Big Cat. But great news as Ashley Williams announces his commitment to Auburn. Let's stay on the topic of football and let's talk about the next position group. Guys, over the past week or so, we've talked wide receivers and running backs, but tonight we're going to discuss tight ends. We're going to discuss that position group. And let's kind of take a quick look or a graphic as to our current tight end room, who's out, who's in, who's returning, and the like. So returning, of course, at number 23, John Samuel Shanker, 85, Tyler Fromm, 86, Luke Deal, 87, Brandon Frazier. Coming in this year is true freshman Michael Riley Ducker and Camden Etheridge. And Hayden Bryce, who's exhausted his eligibility, will not be returning this year. This is our tight end room. And of course, last year, the leading receiver of this room was Shank with 33 catches, actually becoming the first tight end to garner over 30 receptions in a season in several years. He ended up with a total of 413 yards, was definitely an option in the passing game. Right behind him was Tyler Fromm, who had 8 catches for 93 yards. Luke Deal had 9 catches for 65 yards. Let's start off with Shanker. He was pretty much the primary receiving target out of the tight end position. Ike, what's your thoughts about him? Do you expect more out of him this year, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Shanker, this is the first year that he has focused on football the entire time during the offseason. So I expect that to pay dividends. I think that he is committed to wanting to go to the NFL, and he knows that he needs to come out here and put up some numbers. We had a conversation with him. You can go check that out on our YouTube. We definitely had a building report where we talked to him. He thinks he's going to have a better year this year. So I'm going to go with what he said, which is he's been devoted to getting the rapport built with these quarterbacks and getting in here, focusing on his craft. He knows things that he could do better. He's already a good blocker. He's already a good pass catcher. He's trying to get better in route running and just making sure that he's securing catches when they come in his direction. I do think that Shanker's going to have a good year this season because I think that our tight end group is going to be a focal point of our offense, and he is the senior leader in that group. So I expect him to go out there and do some good things for us.
So with Shanker being the leading returning receiver out of the tight end room, who's number 2? Who do we expect to be that guy? Does Fromm take the next step, in your opinion, B. Will? Or who's a guy that you're looking to out of this tight end group other than Shanker to have some production this season?
Well, I'm going to say Frazier. I'm saying Frazier because everybody seems so impressed with his physical stature last season, but he just didn't do much on the field. We saw Fromm catch a touchdown or two. Luke Deal got some action, but when you are what is considered the prototypical NFL tight end body, I expect this staff, if you're still here, especially after last season, I mean, they cleared house. So if you weren't on board with the program, or maybe he was injured, I mean, I don't know exactly what the case would have been, but if it was a culture fit thing, then I think maybe he leaves if he doesn't feel comfortable here. But he didn't leave. He's still here. He still got the same prototypical NFL size. So I'm going to expect him to be a frequent contributor, and I don't know how much. The other guys may be a little bit ahead of him because they were able to get on field and contribute some while being a part of the program last year. But I am hoping that we see some of that potential that Brandon Frazier flashed preseason last year, and we see him get on the field and get productive and contribute this year.
Mike G, your thoughts about this position group? What are you looking forward to in the 2022 season?
Well, Shanker is clearly the leader. I think that he's going to be the standout. I think they put that on display during A-Day. So there's an expectation that he will be first tight end out. He mentioned in his interview with us that Fromm was probably the fastest of the group. Though I like Luke Deal. I think you can go a lot of ways after John Samuel here. So Michael Riley Dunker, even though he's a freshman, I read some crazy stat about him, like he never dropped a pass or something in high school, like just caught everything literally, never dropped a pass. And this will be interesting to see, what they decide to do in terms of how many tight ends get in the game on the field at the same time. I know Shanker is going to be out there. He's going to be out there a lot. But my expectations are kind of wait and see, depending on what kind of schemes we run and what kind of formations we run, to see that if anybody after Shanker gets any significant burn. I would like to see some 2 tight end sets out there, but we're just gonna have to wait and see what this looks like. The 2021 version definitely focused on the tight ends more than we've ever seen. So hopefully they continue down that path, and having more options out there is definitely going to be a good thing for Auburn football in 2022, because the pass game is going to have to step it up. Tight ends can be a really good outlet for the quarterback when they're looking for a guy to dump the ball off to, or get a quick 5 yards over the middle. You've got a big body that can absorb a hit, and hopefully drag a guy for a few yards after the catch. So after Shanker, question marks for me.
Ike, question for you. You're the film guy. In terms of formations and what we have in terms of depth at the tight end position, what do you think this coaching staff, particularly Harsin and Keesaw, wants to do utilizing their tight ends this year?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that we're going to see multiple tight end sets. We saw it last year. If you go back and look at film, you saw, 2 tight end sets pretty frequently in what we were trying to do specifically in the run game. I just think that we are going to be able to utilize them more in the pass game. A quarterback's friend can often be a tight end, right? Especially if you have speed over the top that threatens that middle of the field situation is right where the tight end can get busy. And I think that we have the pass catching ability in the tight end position for us to be able to take advantage of that. I do expect a lot of 2 tight end personnel. 22 and 12 is going to be where we live a lot this year, even though we've got a ton of really good receivers. With Landon King moving over into that space, he's kind of a hybrid. So it's really going to be dependent upon how well those guys run block. If they run block really well, sealing edges, making sure that if they're going to be back there as a, kind of an H-back type of thing, if they're going to run block really well, then they're going to be in position to do a lot of great things off of what we get with the naked bootlegs and things like that. If Zach Calzada is the starting quarterback, we've already seen the rapport that he built with a tight end group at Texas A&M. So we know that he knows how to utilize the tight end position, and he looks for those. Again, if we're to believe that last year's playbook was something that Harsin and company helped to create, then we should expect a lot of the same formations and a lot of same things, just different play calling, because again, different play caller is going to yield different play calls. It's just, I don't care if it's the same playbook, you just don't call plays the exact same way. So I am looking forward to seeing a lot of 2 tight end personnel trotting out on the field pretty often.
Walt Taylor, appreciate you being on. Walt, friend of the show. Walt says Shanker needs to improve his blocking. Thoughts on that?
I think the entire tight end group needs to improve block. I don't know that. I mean, Luke Deal's probably the best blocker out of that group, but even he has some work that he needs to do in blocking. I don't know that there is a tight end in this room that I look at and I say, man, that guy's just amazing at blocking. Like, I think all of them could use work in that. So. But they're matchup nightmares in coverage, though. Like, they're all fast, they're all quick, right? For a tight. I mean, again, Shanker, he's a baseball player. He man. Again, Mike and I were standing up close to him at SEC Media Days. He's a big guy. He's bigger than what you would assume. So he's going to be a matchup nightmare for some linebacker or safety. He's too big for a safety. He's probably too quick for most linebackers. So looking forward to it.
Appreciate you watching with us, Lawrence Robinson. Lawrence Robinson says, do we see any more speed sweeps with the tight ends like we saw in the bowl game?
Do we do that?
Yeah,
we did do that. We did that happen.
Yeah. So I don't think that that's necessarily even a bad play. I just don't like it for the scenario that it was called in. So it's just one of those things where you've just got to call it at the right time. It's got to be out of the right look. But I do think that we have tight ends that could possibly make that work. But it's you only need a few yards type of thing, and you want to outflank a defense really quickly when they're expecting something up the middle type of thing. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the call at the time at all. So
yeah. Well, any more? And I know with Shanker, he's like a big part of the passing game. I was excited to see guys like Fromm get involved with the passing attack, but do we think we see guys like Michael Riley-Ducker this year, given how large of a room that is? Like, what's the likelihood we see him get onto the field? Maybe in garbage time against early in the season, or what do you guys think?
I honestly think it all comes down to who is picking up the blocking stuff the best as to who is going to play. Yeah, because that's what your primary responsibility is going to be on most plays is blocking somebody. And if you're doing that portion, because I think everybody in that room can catch and run. So I think it's going to come down to who is picking up blocking assignments and understanding and being physical in the blocking game. And if it's Michael Riley-Ducker, then he's going to play. I just don't think that they're going to give preference, especially again, considering I think that we're going to run a lot of 2 tight end schemes. So you've got an opportunity for 2 people to be out there on the field for 20 plus snaps, right? In a game. Somebody's got to take that other spot besides Shanker. I think Shanker kind of gets the nod because of his experience, but then after that, it's going to be wide open. And I think it's going to come down to who blocks the best.
Before we get out of here, guys, and get to the break, Thomas Jones asked, how do you guys feel about possible more commitments in the coming days? Thoughts on that, gentlemen?
Who knows?
Yeah, I would like to see that. There's always rumblings that something's going to happen. I think it's more of a wait and see game. I think they have some good relationships with some recruits, and if they're ready to pull the trigger, we've heard a lot about some rumor, I should say, about some things coming down the pipeline this weekend, but I don't have the first clue. I could never pretend to tell you I know what a 17-year-old kid's going to do with his recruitment.
Right.
Indeed. Well, guys, listen, let us know your thoughts on this tight end position. Who are you expecting to take the next step out of this position? What kind of production you expect to see? Let us know in the comments, guys, especially if you are watching on replay. Definitely let us know in the comments below. Guys, do us a favor. Share this video on social media. Use the hashtag. Also, if you're out here, please be sure to help us with our engagement. Like this video, smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe and the notification bell. Let's take time to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Report.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial future, let Athletic Architects help you to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. War Eagle Oil is your #1 place for all of your motor oil and related products. For more information, visit WarEagleOil.com. Yeah, definite shout out to our sponsors. Definite shout out to everybody who has a green name right now in the comment section. If you want to get a part of this green gang and get in here and get your membership status up, you need to go to the YouTube section and click join. We've got our member benefits going to be cranking up for this season. $5.99 is going to get you to patron level, which is going to get you a lot of great stuff. If you don't know how we get down during the season, we've got the game day experience, pregame, halftime, postgame. Some of those experiences are going to be member-only chats just because we want to have family conversation and be able to vent or celebrate together without in a troll-free environment. So we're going to restrict that to just people who've decided to be members of the War Rapport during some of those chats. So definitely get your membership on. $5.99 is going to get you access to a lot of great stuff during the season as well. We do Monday afternoons. We're doing film breakdown on the previous game. So you get to get in on those film sessions. Right now, for your member benefits, you can get stuff like interviews. We've got running back Jabari Austin that is currently live for our members, and it's going live for everyone tomorrow. But we had an opportunity to sit down with Coy Moore as well, and that is live for our members right now. So if you are a member of the War Rapport, make sure that you lock in with that interview. Coy Moore had some very interesting things to say, and we're looking forward to seeing the productivity from the wide receiver position from what Coy Moore said is going to be happening. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments if you want to enter a drawing for a t-shirt, the AU t-shirt. We're going to be sending that out. We're going to draw around the 1 hour mark. You got to be present to win. So if you drop the hashtag and you dip, so sorry to you. We will continue to draw until we find ourselves a winner. So make sure you hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to do that. As previously stated, we are getting into that season where we're going to be doing giveaways. So the Mercer game's coming up. We're going to be doing ticket giveaways. It's going to be for War Rapport members. If you're a member, you're going to be able to get access to getting tickets. We give away 2 for every home game. We did it last year. We are bringing it back again this year. And then just a last and final note before we get back into some things, that we are the Auburn Express. Make sure you tap in with us in your podcast place, wherever that is, to be able to get yourself a little bit more of this great content. We have podcast exclusive stuff that we are doing. If you find yourself in a position where you are stressed out over who's going to be the next recruit, you don't know what's happening, somebody tell me some good news. Are we going to be great next year? Are we going to run? I don't know any of those answers. So what I do is I just make sure that I get myself a little calm. And then, I holler at my folks at the Rogue Shop.
This episode of the War Report is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Yes, indeed. Shout out to the Rogue Shop, guys. Please be sure to use code RAPPORT when you head over there, guys. We greatly appreciate it, and shouts out to them for sure. Let's get into the second topic here. Let's talk about Auburn basketball. Here we are in August. It's almost football season, and here comes Auburn basketball. They traveled to Israel, played their first exhibition game yesterday against the under-20 national team, and beat them to the fine tune of 117-56 in that game, guys. A lot to cover on this. Let's talk about a few newcomers, shall we? Let's break this down. One of the newcomers that I definitely want to bring up is 5-star recruit Johan Triori, who logged 20 points and 8 rebounds. He was a leading scorer of that game. And again, Auburn is led by another talented 5-star forward in his front court. What was our thoughts about Johan Triori? He came off the bench in this game. He was in the rotation, which he came on with Cardwell. How do we think this kid did, and what do we like about his game?
I honestly, it was very hard to tell how good anybody for us was if they were above 6'6", because there was no resistance from that other team.
Sure.
I saw people tweeting about it, saying everybody that is usually on their under 20 team wasn't there. They played maybe their professional. I think their professional league had just played a major game or something. So they, even with that, what they are, the under 20 team, it wasn't even the absolute best of those. So this was a, hey, who wants to sign up to play the men's basketball team for scrimmages in the hot box back in 2001, and like this game didn't even have to be played.
Is the hot box still there? They still had a hot box.
It's still there. It's just not the hot box. I think it got renovated into something else.
Oh, okay.
I think I'll have to go walk by there and see. I don't know, but yeah, I want to tell you that everything I saw from Triori and Westry was just, oh man, but I can't tell anything from that game, and I don't think anybody can tell anything from that game. We weren't well defended. They didn't put up too much fight on the boards. There wasn't much going there. Now, did I see the skills that warrant the 5-star? Sure. Saw those skills. Saw that size and saw the light on his feet that I'm interested to see how that continues going forward. But I don't think I'm not getting excited about this. We're going to have much stiffer competition on Sunday and Monday. That's what I want to see. I don't expect those brand new guys to look so composed and be able to just do exactly what they want to do against people who have been professionals for years and years and years. And that's more or less exactly how I want to see them get baptized. Like, okay, here's a grown-up pushing you back. Can you get to the spot you want to get to? Are you going to kind of shrink up a little bit because you've never been pushed like that on the floor in a real game? So we'll see. But I'm still glad to see what I saw from everybody. It was good from everybody.
Mike says for some of those guys who were missing off of Israel's team, it was military obligations as well. And I think they mentioned that too on the SEC network when that game was being played. Let's talk about another newcomer. And I know we talked about how undersized Israel was and how young that team was. But let's talk about Morehead State transfer Janai Broome. He registered 17 points, 9 rebounds. Because of how undersized Team Israel was, a lot of second chance points, not all due to, but Janai Broome was a big part of that in that game. What did you see from him in terms of his skill set and what he brings potentially to this team, given that Walker Kessler is off to the NBA?
Yeah, well, I'll answer about Janai Broome, and I want to circle back about Johan. But Janai Broome, what I liked about him is he's everything that's advertised so far is about his ability to protect the rim. He was definitely he wasn't giving up free buckets.
Right.
No free buckets when Broome is in the game. He's challenging shots. He's altering shots. He's blocking shots. He was doing that really well. He was a menace on the glass. I don't think that for him specifically, it's really about his height, because he's not like a big leaper or anything like that. He's good at anticipation and position. He just knows how to use his frame to be able to be in the spots he needs to be defensively and on the glass. So I liked a lot of what I saw from him. I liked his ability to finish around the rim from not the best angles all the time. He's a good post presence in there. We're not talking about him right now, but I do like the high-low that I saw between him and what's my guy's name? Cardwell. Dylan Cardwell did a really good job with post entry, specifically with Janai Broome sealing. Like I thought that they did well with a high-low combination, surprisingly. And we'll get to Dylan Cardwell and the things that I liked about him for sure. Let me circle back to Johan Triori, though, because one of the things that I liked about him was he made his free throws.
Yeah.
He looked really comfortable and at ease at the free throw line. And that's going to be important because he is going to be a big guy that people are looking to foul a lot. So as long as he continues to be big, whether he's making a lot of shots or not, if he's active and he's making sure that he's in there in the paint on the offensive glass and making himself available for whatever down low, he's going to get fouled, right? And that's not a winning proposition if he continues to be, because you can tell a lot, even if someone's making or missing free throws, about how they approach their free throws. He looked super comfortable at the free throw line. Now, it's not a pressure situation, but free throws are free throws. He looked good at it. So I do like what I saw out of that. The only thing I didn't like about him, which is going to be a problem for him always, is, well, that this won't be a problem always, but because he is taller, he's going to have to work on not bringing the ball down as low so much, because he was getting stripped down low pretty frequently, and he's got to get stronger with his hands and realize if I'm going to bring it down there, the shorter guys, that's the only thing they can do. They can't block it. So he's going to have to be stronger with it or work on his positioning in that way to make sure that he can get the opportunities to finish around the rim, because he does look like he can do that fairly well. So I did like what I saw out of both of those big men.
Mm-hmm.
Mike G, I'm going to get you in here, man. KD Johnson scored 13 points, had 5 assists and 3 steals, but he came off the bench. Earning his start was Wendell Green. He had 8 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, really running the offense. What did you like about that? And would you do you expect to see more of Wendell Green starting in the upcoming season?
Well, I'm glad we didn't pick him for Jesse's challenge. 2 for 7. I was almost talked myself into him, and then we went with Broome, who was 8 of 9. He didn't hit a 3. I mean, he looks kind of regular. Guard play, I think, is still a concern. So I'll just wrap that all into one question. I'm still kind of concerned about guard play based on what I saw. But then again, I don't know how, like, the competition level wasn't very high either. So I don't think, I'm not sure anybody went out there and did anything impressive from a guard perspective. They got into lanes defensively, and they stole passes. I think KD had he had 3 steals. Wendell had 2 steals. Because I wonder, we asked Bruce Pearl about shooting on this team and what the identity would be. With Broome and Johan and some of those guys, I think we look a lot better inside than we do out at this point. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't super impressed with Wendell Green at all.
Yeah, I actually liked the game that Wendell Green had. Not from a shooting standpoint, he didn't take a lot of shots. I liked what he did from just a facilitation and running the offense standpoint. He didn't look out of control when he was in the game for the most part. He looked aggressive when he could. But the bigger issue when we talk about poor guard play for me is we still don't look like we're a 3-point shooting team. We don't look like we can threaten people from the outside at any level of consistency yet. KD had a couple of good looks, but it's not one of those things where it looks like as the ball rotates around, you're going to find a shooter who's like, oh man, you can't leave that guy open. I just don't know who that shooter is for this team right now. Or you're going to need 1 or 2 of those to be able to fill it up. So we've got to get the 3-point presence better. So if you're talking about scoring from the guard position, yeah, there wasn't anything super impressive, but I do like KD didn't look out of control for the most part of this game. Wendell Green didn't look out of control. Zep Jasper was almost non-existent in this game. Like he wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know that he does well as the coming off the bench guy. Maybe because the rotation of the guards was like 5 guards, right? As opposed to the normal 2 to 3 guards because, you had Westry running point at one point in time. Zep Jasper ran point very seldomly. Wendell Green was running point for periods of time. Trey Donaldson was running point. So you had like 4 or 5 guys who were bringing the ball up court, and that's usually Zep's role. But he just, I think Zep hit 1 3. He missed another one really bad. It was an ugly brick of a 3 that he put up there. But for the most part, I just didn't see the harassing the guy, 3/4 of the court type of thing that you see out of Zep Jasper. So hopefully as the competition gets better, we'll see them get into a more solid rotation and he'll get into a place where he's more of an impact on the game. But yeah, that's one thing I think the shooting still has to get better for sure.
I've noticed that Zep has a tendency to shrink if he's out there with Wendell, because Wendell does become the primary ball handler, and
he's the better shooter though. Like he's the better spot up shooter, and I don't understand why he can't just get into that role of like, okay, I'm not the ball handler, but let me be the off guard who can shoot and spot up. I still haven't figured that out yet, but
yeah. So you mentioned them. Let's go ahead and talk about them. Dylan Cartwell recorded his first double-double, had 12 points, 14 boards, was very active defensively, active on the boards, and created a lot of second chance shots. Was able to get 12 just off of just crashing the boards. Talk about Dylan Cartwell and just, of course, picking up where he left off last year, being a high energy guy, coming off the bench and just bringing a lot of effort with his play.
Listen, I think he hit a little hook shot.
Yeah.
And then Mike G was in the chat like, man, that was a smooth looking shot. I was like, oh, now Kareem turned into Kareem in the off season. No, I don't expect him to do that a lot, but I'm sure he has been able to improve his game because he had to be focused on that. He flirted with the idea of the NBA for a moment. We know his weaknesses were his ability to finish at the rim, especially in the pick and roll, and those hands, man. He couldn't collect and corral the ball consistently. He seemed to have a better hands game yesterday. There was a better hands game for him. He's always going to be a good defender. But again, when you're defending guys who are 6 inches shorter than you, that's not the best measurement of how good are you still or how you have improved as a defender. But I mean, I think it's still looking up. I just see that move from him, an offensive move of any kind from Cardwell.
Yeah.
Hey, I was impressed. I wonder if now Bruce is like, okay, if Cardwell's just that much better on the offensive end, if he can catch those lobs, if he can catch that pass in traffic when Wendell gets it to him, because I mean, to kind of the Ike's point, I like Wendell's game. He wasn't a great scorer, but I think when you've got Triori on the court, when you've got Flanagan on the court, Broome, who is a good offensive big, I don't need Wendell to go crazy. I would much rather him be down there dishing and distributing and keeping the offense flowing, because even if he could just go solo and go crazy, we also risk kind of stagnating the rest of the offense. And I think a lot of the guys need to be involved to stay active, especially the young guys. You can't ask a Triori to go out there like, hey, man, just get in where you fit in. Man, that's prime time for freshmen to kind of just loaf it a little bit, and you don't want that. So you want to keep it moving. I think Wendell did a good job of that. I wonder if Bruce would play Broome and Cardwell simultaneously in the season, because then you look just unstoppable defensively. I mean, assuming both of those guys are going to be moving their feet enough to guard some threes and fours. But yeah, man, hey, I like the idea that Cardwell improves enough offensively to be able to keep him on the floor with another big, and not just an offensive big like Triori, because Triori will have to develop defensively. His primary value right now is going to be offense, but Broome and Cardwell on the court at the same time, I'm interested in that.
Yeah, they looked good on the floor together, man. I liked everything I saw from Dylan Cardwell's game. He looked, he still had the energy that he's always played with.
Mm-hmm.
He was still solid as far as being able to be a rim protector. He played better when he had to go out. So that's one thing, because the Israeli team was so much smaller. They were playing essentially the same offense that Miami ran against us in the tournament that got us bounced up out of there. Now, they're not as skilled as Miami, not as quick.
Right.
But what you did see out of the team was their ability to basically just switch everything, including the bigs. Like they were switching everything, but they did a good job of making sure that their bigs didn't have to guard out on the perimeter too high, too early in the shot clock. They were switching a lot of stuff down low. It's like, all right, cool. If you want to bring a guard to set a low screen, we're just going to switch off of it. If you're going to bring a big to go set a high screen, we're going to switch early and put a small on that big, because they're go screening anyway. So somebody's going to slip down low. So the bigs were kind of playing quasi zone until it got late in the clock, and they were just trying to be aggressive on everything. They did a really good job of, I think, as a staff, adjusting to the 5 out offense, because they're like, all right, we saw this and it made us look silly in the tournament last year. We've got a different plan that we're going to go in against it, and they executed it really well against, again, subpar competition, but really good job of adjusting how they allow people to attack them when they know that that's the style of basketball that they're going to be playing. But I liked everything that I saw from Dylan Cardwell from a footwork standpoint, hand standpoint. He made great passes. He looked like he was just as spry in his energy on the defensive end, man. Props to him, man, because I was one of those people who's like, man, I don't know, man. Dylan Cardwell, he's good, but I don't know if he's starter good. He was playing starter good yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing his maturation, and again, seeing how that translates when the bodies are bigger around him, because his footwork looked good, right? So if he can still move well, having big bodies bump against you shouldn't change that. Hopefully his confidence remains at that level where it is, though.
Agreed. John Brannon here got a quote from him. He says, Flanagan looked in control and confident. Me like ye. Now, there's a lot of people especially on Twitter, was really hyped and excited about Flanagan. Flanagan looked a lot more comfortable. I think that's the word I would use to describe his play yesterday. He was 4 of 10, scored 10 points, had 5 rebounds on 4 assists. Mike G, your thoughts on Flanagan and what you saw out of him yesterday?
Yeah, he looked like he trusts that Achilles a lot. I saw him like driving to the hole. He looked like he had a little bit more explosion. He put up a really good looking 3-pointer. He was 1 for 3 from 3. I think Flanagan's on his way back. I think he looked a lot more confident, and he played about 18 minutes. So he was up there in terms of minutes played based on team averages. They're going to need him this year. They're going to need him to be, based on what I saw from, well, I know it's hard to make too many judgments from this first game.
Right.
Like, the makeup of this team. Without Jabari Smith, this team is a different team. This is a drastically different team, and especially without Walker Kessler as well, too. So, we'll see in the next game how Flanagan does. But I just think from a health standpoint, he looked healthy. Looked like he hit the weights. He looked like he was in great shape. And he just kind of looked, I think there was times last season where he just looked lost on the court, and he didn't look lost on the court yesterday. I thought he looked good out there. So they'll continue to build on that. It's August. He's got time, but he definitely looked like he took a few steps forward this offseason.
Yeah, that step back was nice though. I'm not even gonna hold him. That step back was really nice. So he just looked a lot more comfortable. Jamal Cunningham, appreciate you, man. Super chatting us. He says all of our guards are combo guards. They can play both well, but won't be great at either position. Thoughts on that, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think Zep is a great defensive guard. He's not a great penetration guard. So if you can get him to defend well and hit a spot up 3, great value for a guard. So I'm disagreeing slightly because I do think he is great defensively. He is not great offensively, but he can be incredibly useful offensively. So I do think it makes more sense to have him out there with the Wendell who can create, penetrate, and dish. But it didn't seem like they had that working well yet. Zep getting used to not being the person that's the primary ball handler. I'm glad they took KD out of the starting lineup. That didn't make a lot of sense to me because what you had was neither Zep nor KD last year could distribute. So the offense looked stagnant. We always got down early, especially the last half of the year. We got down big, and then we make these pushes to come back because we defend and Wendell can get the offense moving a little bit. But I agree that we seem to not have a all-world guard in that sense. Like there's no Michael Jeffrey Jordan out there. Obviously, it means he's in Charlotte doing his thing. I don't know if we need it if we have the right mix of players on the court, though. And that's really what Bruce has to find. Like we saw some energy and some speed out of Donaldson, but he also looked a little out of control. I mean, he got people. He wouldn't be in high school right now, but he just got here. Like he just got here. It's going to take some time for us to see who can be that really, really impressive scorer. I don't think we have a scorer at point, and that's what a lot of people want to see. We want to see a guy who's fast, breaking down the court, can clean up and finish very well at the rim in some weird positions while taking contact, but also do some distributing and also
like Cooper.
Yeah. But I mean, he was undersized. His shot wasn't great. But I mean, like I said, we don't have an all-world dude.
No, we don't have a Harper. Right, we don't have a Jared Harper on this team.
Right.
Yeah,
right. So that's what people I think want to see from the point position. But honestly, we don't need that from the point position. If everybody who's at guard could shoot 33 to 38% from 3, we're great. That's it. We shot way worse than that last year. Like as a team, we shot low 30s. That's not good enough. If as a team, or really from the guard position, because Jabari really inflated our stats as a team from 3. If from the guard position, I say we shoot 35 to 40, we're great. We're great. So we need KD's shot to land more often. If he's going to get as many shots as he got last year, he needs to hit them. He can be crazy and high energy, but you got to hit those shots. You can't go 0 for 14 in a SEC tournament game. It's more about our ability to hit shots And then every guard's strengths will look like, oh, well, they're great. Yeah, Zep is not distributing, but if he's hitting that three at a high enough clip, it won't matter that he can't distribute because Wendell will be doing that. And it'll all fit together. But Bruce has to get those guys in tune. So I'm glad they're getting some of this experimentation out of the way now. That's why this trip is extremely helpful. You don't have to guess once you get into exhibition. Oh, what are we going to do with you if we got you on the court with you? No, we got an international trip to figure that out. I think it's going to be great for them.
Before we get into some of the questions, let's talk about Chance Westry, another newcomer.
Yeah.
He logged 13 points, was very efficient, and there was a lot of things I like from him, especially in terms of his ball handling. He gives you another guy who can bring the ball up, but was very efficient in his points. 5 of 8 shooting. Thoughts on Chance Westry, right?
Yeah, I was super impressed with Chance Westry. First and foremost, just from him, he is the guard we needed last year. He was the alternate ball handler that's a big ball handler. Like when last year, when teams wanted to shut down our pick and roll, they did so by hedging out high and bottling up our short guards. That's not going to be as easy with a Chance Westry if he's the guy who's initiating that. And he looks like he can be a ball handler, distributor out top, slash into the hole, and he can shoot over the top because he is 6'6", 6'7" type of guy, right? Like under control, like he looked like he was the kind of guy who can be your secondary ball handler at any point in time and catalyze your offense in a different way than a Wendell Green or a Zep Jasper or a KD Johnson could. But the most impressive thing about him for me was how he defended out top.
Yeah.
He was a menace. If a guy's trying to get to like in the passing lane, on ball defend, he is and this is his high school tape bears this out. He is committed on the defensive end. He did a really great job on defense, just making it hard for them to get into anything when he was out there on the court because of his length, and he has the agility to stay with shorter players that are quick. So I loved what I saw from him on the defensive end. He is going to be, again, the type of player that changes what you can do offensively because he can play a big point. When you can have a guy who can be a big point guard, it changes what defenses are able to do against you. And it's going to make the kind of stuff that Bruce likes to run more effective because, again, you can't just jump out on Chance Westry and double team him. He can throw over the top. It's no problem. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now you're playing, you're a man short on the back end where all of our trees are. It's a different proposition. The only thing you're missing is that guy who you can swing it to on the back end and hit a three. If we can find a shooter that can catch and shoot a la how Jabari Smith was able to do last year, that becomes a different team to play ball against because now you have the pace that you can utilize with somebody like Wendell who can bring the ball in and he can play at a high pace and he can get you in the open court and he can distribute. As long as he's playing under control, you're great. You've got a slasher in KD. You've got a guy who can be your alternate ball handler. If Flanagan is back to being the athletic 3-2-3 guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a really tough team to defend when you've got those trees. When you've got guys who can be ball pressure heavy out top and you've got guys who can block shots on the back end, you're back to being one of the top defensive teams in the country again. So Chance Westry is a difference maker for that team, specifically in their ability to have an alternative ball handler and be a menace against whoever they're going to have playing the point guard.
Real quick, guys, let's grab some before we get to the drawing. Let's get to some of these questions. D asks, appreciate you watching with us. He says, so who y'all think stepping up to replace Jabari, since you brought him up, Ike? Who do you guys,
we don't have.
How does Auburn produce? Yes. How do they replace that production?
The production is going to have to come by committee. We don't have a Jabari Smith on this team because Jabari Smith was just a unique catch and shoot player for someone that tall. And there's nobody currently on this team that can be the guy who you swing it to and you just can't leave him open from three. That's a losing proposition for you. We don't have that guy on this team. But I do like, again, what we were able to do in being better at post entry and taking advantage of height, because that's something that we didn't do well last year. Is when we had height advantages, we weren't taking advantage of it. they did a better job of that in this game. Hopefully they can continue to do that moving forward. But I don't know the answer to how do you replace Jabari Smith, because he's just such a unique person. And again, we don't have that particular skill set on this team. So it's going to have to be a combination of a lot of things that could produce his numbers as far as offensive productivity. I mean, he was a mid-teens guy for the majority of the year. That's not a crazy amount of points to be able to reproduce, because he wasn't like the go-to guy. It wasn't until later in the season that they started running stuff through him. And I think we'll see kind of who can be the person that we run sets through going forward as the season progresses.
Right.
D asks, or damn Eagle, who do y'all think is the heartbeat of this year's team?
It's me. I am.
I think it's to be determined.
I mean, I think Dylan Cardwell is the guy who is kind of the motor for everything. If he's going to play significant minutes and be the same energetic guy that he was, but play higher minutes and be better, more effective on the offensive end, he's definitely going to be someone who is going to be the heartbeat. Now, he might not be the guy who everything runs through, but he's going to be the one that pulls it off. He's going to be kind of how Walker Kessler was last year as far as a defensive anchor, and then just an energetic guy that you can bring in. And he doesn't have to be the only guy that's out there doing that sort of thing. You still got your KD, you still got your Chris Moore from an energy standpoint. But I think right now he seems to be kind of the spirit animal of the basketball team.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got to talk this recent recruit. We can talk about him after the break, but right now it is time, guys, to draw. What are we drawing for? We're drawing for this AU t-shirt, sponsored by, of course, War Eagle Oil. Guys, drop hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter to win. We're not waiting anymore for you guys. So if you want to enter to win, you need to do it now, because we're about to draw.
Yep. 89 entries. That's kind of a high mark for us recently. Who is going to win the t-shirt? Again, sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Shout out to them for staying on board with us. And today, Michael Hornbeck is the person who is slotted to get himself an AU t-shirt. Michael, make sure that you let us know you are here in the comments section, and we will make sure you get your shirt.
Congrats to him. Let's take time while we wait to hear if he's here. Let's take time to acknowledge one of our sponsors, Chill Boys.
Treat your boys. Chill Boys underwear is designed for maximum comfort with enough space to keep you cool, calm, and comfortable. Chill Boys underwear will help you keep the boys close, not too close. When the game is on the line, you won't break a sweat with Chill Boys underwear. Whether it's left boy, right boy, or both boys, Chill Boys provides your boys comfort like you never felt. Maximize your chill with Chill Boys.
Michael is here.
There he is.
Michael, here's what we need you to do, good sir. Email us business@thewarreport. We need your physical address and we need your shirt size. Congratulations again on winning. Thanks for watching with us. One and done. I like that. I like that.
Man, it's been a while since we've had a one and done draw, man.
Know, right?
So we can keep it moving. Let's talk about, since we're still on this, before we get to some of the questions, let's talk about Auburn basketball. They picked up a recruit or a commitment for the 2024 season. He's Aiden Holloway, 4-star point guard out of prolific prep across the country in Napa, California. We're seeing Bruce reaches expanding nationwide. 6'1", 170 pounds. He's 39th in the nation. He's 11th at his position. And here's a battle that we won over Tennessee. He chose us over them, Miami and Wake Forest. So we see that Bruce is really trying to attack the point guard position, considering that we're going to lose some guys this upcoming year. Thoughts on this pickup, guys?
Well, this is in the mold of the kind of guard that we're talking about, a point guard who can score. Like, he seems like he's a scoring point guard, can shoot the ball well from the outside, has the handle. So this is the kind of guy that I've already seen comparisons to him and Jared Harper. So listen, man, if that's the kind of guy he's going to be for this team, that's going to be nice. That's going to be nice, and because he fits right in the mold of what Bruce Pro wants to do offensively. So, yeah, man, looking forward to seeing what that young man can do. I mean, 6'1", not super tall, but not super short. He's not like the sub 6, height guy. He's going to bulk up a little bit more for sure, but looking forward to seeing what he can do.
B?
The first thing that came to mind is only in basketball would we hear, oh, we got a 4-star recruit. And maybe in football, if we got a 4-star, people would go, well, where are the 5 stars? Well, it turns out that if you are recruiting for skill and for need, that the star rating really is a lot less relevant than what can the guy bring to the table. Because we were watching last year, and maybe this year, we don't know if it's been fixed or not, the outside shots, the outside shot for our 1, 2, and 3 position were sorely deficient. And that was the thing that kept us from being great last year. Hopefully they got it fixed this year. So if I see a point guard that we recruited that can come in, that can be an efficient scorer, that can drive, but also can shoot well from outside, now the light goes off and go, wait a minute, that's what the hell we needed. And this is a perfect example of Bruce recruiting for need. My guess is we're going to continue to get a couple of bigs at the 4 and the 5, maybe one of them to score, maybe not, but we're going to rebound, we're going to defend, and we're going to get a lot of opportunities to put shots up. And if you've got a point that can dribble well, penetrate, distribute, but can shoot from outside, then man, all of a sudden the offense gets easier. We saw with how freewheeling it was when we had Jared Harper running the point. It was great. It was fantastic when you got somebody out there you have to respect like that. Now, it was also bolstered by Bryce Brown being able to shoot very well from outside too. But we haven't had those 2 shooters were better than any other shooters we've had that wasn't Jabari Smith since that time. And that's something that we've got to remedy. So you see it here in recruiting. Let's address the need, which is shooting from the guard position. And, yet to be seen, maybe Flanagan can kind of get back to himself. I mean, he was never like the best shooter ever, but he can do better than he did last season from the outside. So hopefully this is them getting that skill set back into the stable here and turning that around so we don't have to fight so hard to score points later in the season.
Indeed. Any thoughts, Mike, on this pickup?
Good pickup for Bruce. I mean, depending on what rankings you're looking at, you're talking about a top 30 player. There are only like 20 5-star recruits. Out of the top 30 players, 20 of them are already committed. So getting a top 30 player is a big deal because those guys aren't hanging around late in the process. They're committing early. So now I think it's a good pickup. It just kind of continues the trend, as was mentioned previously, fit over stars when it comes to picking guys for your basketball team. I mean, it's not like football. You really have to get this right. You have to get this right because one guy can completely transform the makeup of your basketball team. And at the rate that he's losing people every year, one and dones, these top 30 pickups are really, really important because you have to replace a draft pick every year. So I have no reason to doubt the talent evaluation on the basketball side right now. I think if Bruce says he's a star, he's a star. So can't wait to see him play.
Right.
Indeed. Looking forward to seeing who all they bring in for the 2023 class. We'll definitely keep an eye out for that. Guys, let's kind of move over to the questions. So, guys, if you have a question, please feel free to drop it in the comments. We'll definitely try to get to as many as we possibly can. The first one, or the first comment, rather, goes to Jeremy Redding. Good to see you, man. He asked, did everyone see that Keontae Scott has arrived in Auburn? Great news, even if it is at a deep position. I think he's a difference maker. Thoughts on this, guys?
Yeah, man. Listen, talked with him. Super confident, super capable, seems really intelligent, works hard. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in this defense, man. We haven't talked about the defensive backfield yet in our position groups, but good Lord, it's a lot of them and they're talented.
Yeah.
So those guys are going to be duking it out to see who's going to get on the field, but happy to see that he has landed down in Auburn and just in time for fall camp. That's going to be starting here in a couple of days, or Friday's the first day, right, of camp?
I think so.
Yeah. So he's here right in time for that. According to him, again, building rapport, just a plug for that. Go and watch that interview that we had with him. He's been doing the strength and conditioning program, reviewing playbook stuff. He's been getting into that whole thing already. So I expect him to come in and immediately start vying for snaps. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that young man can provide to this team.
And I like his mentality too. He seems like the mold of a Brian Harsin type player. So I'm definitely eager to see him get in and get acclimated for sure. All right. It's not. Maxine asks, did y'all see Smoke was hurt? I feel horrible for him off the subject. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, it was a pretty devastating knee injury. What was being reported. So, thoughts and prayers out to him. I know reports out of their camp was he was doing really well too.
Yeah.
So you hate to see anybody get hurt, but we hope he speedy recovery for Smoke.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that first contract was, since he was a free agent pickup and not a draft pick. There was not a lot of guarantee to him. There's not a lot guaranteed to free agent pickups coming right off of the draft. If you don't get drafted, it is basically bet that you are going to make it through the mini camp, make it through fall camp, and ball out and get into the rotation once the season starts. So this kind of blow, even if New Orleans loved him, attrition hits, you got to free up a roster spot, and then here you are just looking for a new job this time next year. And I hate to hear that for anybody really, let's be honest with you, but especially somebody who played here and contributed well here. So I'm hoping that he can recover, that it's not a serious knee injury. I know that a similar thing happened to Eli Stove. He was going through, he hadn't even made it to training camp yet, but they found like a knee problem, and that was pretty much it for his professional playing career, I think. So I'm hoping that he can bounce back from this, that he can be however well he could move before, that he can get right back to that and make somebody's team as a free agent next year. But heart goes out to him, man. I hate it for him.
We hope for the best for him, man. Get well soon. Wolby asks, did TJ get an NI deal with Amazon? Where's Tim Cook at? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Congrats to him on that. But where is Tim Cook, Mike? Have you given up on trying to reach out to Tim Cook?
Hiding from Bezos. Apparently, Bezos out here handing out Amazon deals, and Tim Cook nada so far. So become a Patreon member, and maybe if we grow enough, when we talk crap about Tim Cook, you'll hear it and start sponsoring players.
That's how it works. Talk crap and get them to do what we want them to do.
Listen, they don't hear you when you compliment them, but they sure as hell hear you when you insult them. So.
Yeah, that's how that works. That's how that works, actually. Steve AU says, so everyone know AU was going to be great this year.
The players agree.
Yes. Coaches too, I think. Exclusive TV says, what group getting previewed next, fellas? We haven't thought about this. So what you think, Ike?
I mean, we've been doing all the offense so far. We've done running backs, wide receivers, and now tight ends. I guess we could do offensive line next. Might as well.
You can stay on the offensive side of the ball and talk offensive line.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Definitely do that. Sounds good. Sounds good. So you heard it there first. B. Will's forehead says, appreciate you, man. That Coy interview was fire. And if I join the football team, do I get a romantic dinner with Mike?
Hell no. Mute from the chat. I'm muting.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, listen, let's get into the best challenge out here in these YouTube streets. It's the Jazzy Challenge.
Yeah. Welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
Jazzy says, where am I for 100? So apparently he's back off vacation if he's talking about states that borders, right? 50 for the state that borders the challenge. Challenge 2, who makes the most 3-pointers for Sunday's game for 200?
So group has to pick one answer for that one. All right. So first and foremost, he was coming off of vacation. Glad to have you back in the States from the Mexico area. So he was driving back through. I think he was coming up out of the port of Mobile because he was in Alabama previous to that. That's been a few days. So there's literally no telling where he is. And I don't check Twitter enough to know if he's been showing his location hits. So I'm just going to randomly say that he went back to his home base and kicked it there for a couple of days. And that, if I remember correctly, was Missouri.
Yes.
I think. So I'm going to guess Missouri.
I'm gonna go Texas.
Okay. I'm going to say Alabama just to create a little net here around this region.
He's in Ohio.
All right. And now we have to say who is going to hit the most 3-pointers in the next game. I can tell you who's going to take the most 3-pointers.
Who's that going to be?
KD Johnson will take the most 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Who will make the most? It's gonna be a more competitive game, right? Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams will make the most 3-pointers. It's my guess, but we have to come to a consensus here. So, who do you guys think?
All right, we saw Flanagan take a few. Wendell took one, maybe two.
I think Wendell took one, if I recall correctly.
I would go Wendell.
I want to say Wendell.
Wendell took 3.
He took 3 threes.
He missed them all.
I know he missed. I know he didn't make any. I don't remember the other 2 that he took. I'm just trying to replay the game in my head. I've only watched it through one time and then cut in the highlights though. So what were the other 2 threes that he took?
So Ike has Jalen. I'm leaning green. It sounds like B Will's leaning green too. What do you think, Mike?
This is not a very good challenge.
Mike doesn't believe.
That's what Mike thinks.
He doesn't believe in our guards.
It doesn't matter if he believes, and he didn't say you got to make more than 5. He just said who's going to make the most.
Yeah,
3 for 8. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with KD just because of volume. He took about 3 times as many threes as everybody else.
Yeah, like I said, I know KD's going to shoot the most.
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with a law of averages. The guy who takes the most shots is probably gonna hit the most, based on how this team shoots. They were 7 for 22 versus a bad team. So, I'm just gonna go with KD.
I think Wendell. I really do think Wendell. But wait, who'd you say? C?
I haven't said anyone. I was leaning green as well.
Mike is leaning
KD.
Ike, you said who?
Jalen. So we got to pick one, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I can go with the Wendell pick just because I do think that he's going to take a few more this game. When the competition gets a little bit more rigorous, I think that's when we're going to see Wendell take more shots. So I can go with the Wendell pick.
Okay.
So, yeah, 3-1 Wendell. We'll go Wendell.
All right. Wendell, and you got our state picks, Jazzy. So let us know. Steve Bradley says, "Do we have any more slots open for transfers for this upcoming season, or are we already set and good to go?" I'm assuming.
Which sport are we talking about?
I think he's talking about football.
Yes, we do have a couple of slots that are still open. I don't know that they're going to take anybody else, but
not at this point. I don't think. Yeah. Not with fall camp being this close, but yeah, we do have some spots, I think.
Yeah.
All right. CM Pat says, and great to have you on, man. He says, "Yo, Mike, we getting a start of the camp hype vid?"
Maybe. The footage is hard to come by. It's really hard to get good shots to work with on a hype video. So yeah, and then I'm working on it. Maybe TBD.
Okay.
But I don't know if I want to do a start of camp hype video or if I just want to do a start of the season hype video.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because then, if you pull clips from the previous year, I got a bunch of guys who aren't here anymore. You can't put them in the hype video. And
Oh, yeah, it's true.
a lot of the highlights were from guys who are not here anymore. So
Yeah, you gotta
I'll
go cool, like
I'll
maybe
be-
some
I'll
classic
be-
stuff.
I'll be damned if I put Bo in anything Auburn that I make ever again. Kobe, Demetrius
And yet
Robertson.
you can't figure out why people think you don't like Bo.
I never said I liked him. So
I didn't say
One
you
thing's
said
for
you
sure.
liked him,
I just said I didn't hate him.
but you can't figure out why people think that.
Listen, he's gone now. He's no longer a Tiger, so the slander will fly. He will not be in any hype videos.
He gone.
I will superimpose.
Unless it's a he gone hype
Cam's-
video.
Yeah, I'm going to superimpose Cam Newton's face onto his jersey.
Mike gonna be hate watching that Oregon Georgia game. I already know it. I already
Well,
know it. I'm gonna be watching your timeline like I don't know you.
Yep. I feel bad about saying this, but I want you to fail.
Well, I think you and
That's
another
the spirit of Bob Williams there.
Yeah, about to say you and Bob Williams.
Where is
Yeah.
Bob? I like
So
Bob's
eloquently,
energy.
as Bob so eloquently says, hope you fail. Jazzy Joe says, I'm in Arkansas, Texas borders. I'm headed to my main terminal, Ike. So you had the right idea.
I had the
Ike.
right idea. He just wasn't there yet. But B Will picked us up on the Slack with the Texas guest.
No, that was C with
That
the
was
Texas.
me.
Oh, my bad. C said
Yeah.
Texas. B Will said Alabama, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what we gotta do. We gotta pick a region and then cast a net with all the states to hope we get the border states. That's
And
what
then
we're
he'll
gonna
be like on the West Coast somewhere, and we rule.
do.
Right.
In Peru.
That's happened before. Corey Dubb says, did Mike discuss his lunch with Malcolm Johnson Jr.? I don't think he did.
Sat down with Mr. Malcolm Johnson Jr. today at TGI Fridays. And he talked a little bit about, his goals for the season, just how things are going in fall camp. Phenomenal young man and easy to root for. So these guys have put in a lot of work this offseason, and I think really stood out in our conversation about just how much work is being put in right now, not only by him, but by his teammates. And the belief that they have in themselves is at an all-time high. So, again, this whole we don't have any offensive talent narrative, I can't buy it. I think that's very anti-Auburn, and anybody purporting that we don't have any talent on offense is either not paying attention or they're secretly hoping for us to fail. But I hope they can still find some way to be a fan, if these guys pull off something this year, which is more likely. I think it's more likely than a lot of people think. A lot of folks are going to come in sleeping on Auburn. They're going to buy all that crap from last year that, honestly was just never as bad as it was painted out to be. The idea that we don't have any talented wide receivers, it's stupid. We've got plenty of talent in that wide receiver room. What we needed it all to come together, so those guys can showcase their talent. They can't throw the ball to themselves, right? They can't make the quarterback put the ball where it's supposed to be consistently. They can go out there and do a lot of things perfect, but those guys are trying to control what they can control, which is work hard every day, show up, show out, give it your all, encourage your teammates, and then hopefully, in the spirit of Bill Belichick, everybody's just got to do their job. And if it comes together, it does. He's big. I mean, he's put on some muscle, certainly. And we talked about how that's affecting, his speed, and, he's trying to work some things out in his game right now. But, Malcolm is going to be a guy who I think can go up and get the football in the fall. So I'm excited to see him play.
Michael Hornbeck, winner of our t-shirt, says, can AU football overcome recruiting misses with transfers and still be successful in year 3 or 4 of Harsin's tenure?
What's a miss? Like,
Yeah. I mean, year 3. I mean, next year is year 2.
Next year's year 3.
Next
I
year.
mean, this season coming up is what I mean. Is year
Okay.
2. I don't know. I mean, I think that's going to have a lot to say with what year 3 and 4 look like. So, can they overcome some misses, meaning guys that they were hoping to get signed? I mean, we haven't missed them yet until they sign. So, I mean, as we see, we're already flipped one guy. There's a potential for us to flip 2 or 3 more. So, yeah, I think we absolutely can overcome anything that's perceived as a miss right now and finish strong with recruiting. A top 25 recruiting class, maybe even top 15, is not unreasonable for an expectation. So,
but I think Mike asked a good question. What is a miss? Because if you actually do address your need, even though you may not get this guy who's highly regarded, is that a miss? Or if you actually recruited to your needs, did you get everyone?
Yeah, I think the only thing you can really qualify as a miss is a guy who you wanted, he filled a need, you thought he was a lock, and then he went someplace else. Now, I don't know that we have a bunch of those that qualify right now. That
like George Pickens,
thought was a lock, and then he went someplace. And a guy you cannot deny that you wanted and you needed him.
Correct.
Other than that, you just have a guy's your target. You have targets. You have targets, and some of them will land, and some of them won't. But like, I don't know that I would qualify a lot of what people think are misses as misses.
You could potentially miss somebody on the O-line
this year. Year, once you've targeted,
you can have a miss on the O-line for sure,
because that's extreme need. That's a need in the way that we got these guys to come back, all these seniors, these super seniors. All right, like there's now, it's not just we will be low on experience once these guys leave. We might be low on bodies once these guys get out of here. I mean, we might have 6 scholarship offensive linemen after the departures from this year. That's not enough, man. So yes, now if you've got 7 offensive linemen targeted, you need 3 or 4 of the most to sign. And you end up signing 1 or 2 instead of 4, we're in trouble. So those are misses. So we'll see if it comes down to that.
Well, he's giving a definition of miss
winning
here.
Against competition. I'm so on. I don't think you have to beat those guys for their best targets in order to compete. I've never thought that.
And we're going to get our fair share of wins in those as well. So, I mean, so if your question is, can we bounce back from not getting recruits that Georgia and Bama were in competition for? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
But again, we don't seem to be trying to line up against those guys for every recruit anymore either. And that's part of what changed between Chizik and Gus, and now they're really trying to target guys early, build that professional connection early, be the first one to offer, like this Posse kid. Who here had their eye on that guy? But now we've offered while he's a 4, and all the buzz says he's going to be 5 before he goes to college.
I mean, they did that with Brock Glenn. Brock Glenn, we was in on him early, and then a lot of other schools came calling.
Right. In schools with better offensive reputations, number one, in schools with more room in the quarterback room. So to me, that's not even a loss. Brock Glenn, I don't know when that kid was going to play with what we've got in our quarterback room. So I think you're going to see a lot of what we've got going with the Posse kid, which is we're going to be in on guys way earlier. I won't say way early. Recruiting starts early for everybody, but we're going to build these meaningful connections early enough that we won't be in a dogfight with the biggest programs. We would have been in on them, favoring them, offering them earlier than anybody else. And that will win us those connections, which is what it's all about, will win us our fair share of recruits so we can stay competitive.
And Michael, you basically took my sentiment. I like Harson's strategy, opening up the rest of the company. Here's why I feel that you can bounce back if you're talking about head-to-head with Bama and Georgia. Even though Bama and Georgia are recruiting nationally, Auburn is trying to recruit nationally, which means there's more opportunity to get guys in different places as opposed to being restricted to the state of Georgia, the state of Alabama, and whatnot when you lose. So when you lose out or miss on a kid. So I do like the strategy, and I think that's one of the reasons why they can definitely bounce back.
I mean, I don't think we see any more Emeka Egbuka stories out of Auburn recruiting, where it's hey, we're not going out there right now for a guy that's a sophomore or whatever. Like, it's just not going to happen. So,
correct. Lawrence Robinson says, how many times will we get a shutout yelled by Mike G this year? What you think, Mike? Are you still kind of thinking through on this one, or you already know?
I'm going to call these before the games this year. So we'll see how it goes, and then I'll let you know which ones are going to be shut out.
So tune in on Wednesdays and Sundays before the game so you can get your shutout counters going.
Yeah. Well,
you need to do that.
Or excuse me, Saturdays before the game. Year. So we're not going to do it Sundays, but Wednesday, the midweek report before the game, and the Saturday show when we're doing the pregame.
We need to figure out a way to do that. Look, a little counter at the bottom when Mike does that.
I just need to see what these guys are going to do. I mean, I think they've got a ton of talent, but I want to see how it comes together. You know, shutouts are about domination, right? And
how many shutouts did Georgia pitch last year?
One.
It was a couple. It was at least two.
Or was it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. Like, how many times did people?
I think they did pitch I think they pitched a shutout or two at least.
Let's see here. So Georgia last year, they goose egged Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. Damn, they goose egged Arkansas too.
Yeah, it was a game they did that,
and they goose egged Georgia Tech.
So three
shutouts.
So one of the best defenses we've seen in modern football had three.
Those are 3 Power 5 schools. They goose egg too. Those
were
like,
it wasn't just FCS.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
wow.
they
I don't know.
But again, one of the best defenses we've seen in recent history only did it 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, shutouts are hard, man. Shutouts are really hard,
man. Well, even in the
I mean, they had low scoring
non-Power 5 games, right? Like after they pull the starters, that's what always screws the shutout.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying shutouts are hard.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So like it's difficult. You know, they're going to pull the starters in the third quarter, and it's like crap. Okay, so they're going to get a field goal or they're going to get something. So I might call first team shutouts this year.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. The first team defense, how many shutouts do they produce? That's fair.
Okay. All right. Jonathan Harris says we have 6 recruits so far. How many do you think we bring in this cycle? And will we lean heavily on the transfer portal?
They need 20. I think they need 20 this year. I mean, they brought in 18 recruits last year. So, you know, I'm going to go what I think they need to do. They need to bring in 20 recruits. So, you know, find some hidden gem 3 stars. Like, they don't all have to be these glamorous kids. Yeah. Like, you know, go find yourself a Roger McCreary that was ranked 900 something in the class, but comes in and there's a draft pick. Yeah, they're out there.
I can definitely see us loading up on 3 stars that people feel like are that fans will complain and say, oh, that's because right now you land a kid and people are like, where are all the recruits? And you land a recruit and people are like, well, where are the ones at offensive line? And then you have the potential to get an offensive line guy in, which we have 2 or 3 that are on the horizon. And I promise you, mark my words, today, August 3rd, when we get our next offensive line recruit for the 2023 cycle, people, and it's a 3-star, they're going to say, well, where are the 5-star recruits? Or if it's a 4-star, they're going to ask, well, how come we can't land any 5-star recruits? I promise you it's going to happen. The goalpost will consistently move for everyone who can never be satisfied.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep moving the goalpost. Well, but he's his left toe though. Well, look at it. It's long, and you can't have a guy with a long left toe on. It's going to be some. It's going to be some every single time. And it's going to be stupid every single time.
Jazzy Joe. Guys, my cousins are getting married on the day of the Penn State game. They are from Pennsylvania. They invited me. What should I do?
Ask them if somebody can hold a phone up and just let you see it on video and send them a nice present.
They from Pennsylvania. That's all the proof you need that it just means more down here. Because ain't no way anybody I know is gonna schedule no wedding on a college football Saturday. Like
Not on the game that big.
Yeah, man. I mean, well,
they might do it on like San Jose State weekend or something like that.
They'll know your team. They would pick a bye week for one of the two major teams in the state and a cupcake team for the other one. Cool, that's a good one. Let's get you over on that one. But that's a little strange. But I mean, so how close are y'all first? You know what I'm saying? Let's ask the relevant.
Yeah, are these first cousins,
You know what I'm saying?
or is it because if it's second or third,
you know, you can be like, oh man, my truck, you know, it my engine had you know, I
ain't even gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not coming. I ain't coming. I can't.
But did you get the gift though?
Right.
That's all.
Listen, there you go.
Did you get the gift
like you send us? He'll be all right.
Yeah.
A super gift. Exclusive TV says, like Ike say, it ain't official to pen hit paper.
Listen, man. You have an opportunity on anybody. Listen, people are talking about recruits that we've got locked in that people are trying to flip from us. We just flipped a recruit. We've got some other flips that are planned to happen. None of this stuff. I'm not going to say none of it matters. Did y'all saw what's your guy's name? Gosh, Clemson used to be the Clemson defensive coordinator, now at Oklahoma.
Venables.
Did you see the Venables rant?
Don't recruit to Oklahoma.
Yeah, he basically his point was that don't give me a commitment and still take visits. Like if you're committed, be committed and let that be the end of it. If you're not going to be committed, that's fine. Take your visits, but don't tell me you're committed and you're going to still take visits, right?
Right.
But this is the game now, man. Like this is how it works. I need to show some level of intent somewhere and show that there is a Power 5 school that wants me to play there. And because what has happened traditionally for a lot of these kids is, let's say it's a running back, right? Mm-hmm. This school will recruit 4 running backs in the class. And then whoever basically accepts the commitment first, they will stop pursuing those other guys and be like, okay, we got our running back locked in. If you don't give them that commitment, they may lock somebody else in, and then now you don't have a spot to go. So you have to lock in early with a school that, hey, you were in my top whatever anyway, so I would want to go, but I'm gonna still check out these other places in case the place where I really want to go still has a spot for me. Right. Like you're like my backup school. It's like the girl. I don't know why I always have to give dating and marriage now. It's like the girl who is cute enough to date, but not the one you really want to marry. But you'll flirt around with her for right now. And if the girl you really want to marry is occupied, I'm just going to lock it up with her. We cool over here. It's your fallback. And that's how it works with a lot of these kids now. But schools have been doing that to kids forever.
Right. And a lot of times
your commitment means nothing. They'll just sign somebody else and dump your scholarship.
Right.
Or they don't dump your scholarship, but they tell you in the back end, hey, you might want to go ahead and look for somebody else. We got some stuff. We got ear that we're gonna be able to get a transfer in here. That, I mean, they don't have to tell you exactly who it is, but that's really what it is. You're able to get your hands on a JUCO guy, and maybe we weren't as high on you as we are on this guy, but our class is already tight because we're saving some spots for some offensive.
That happens a lot with like coaching changes and stuff like that. Like some kids end up landing on people's boards that were not there throughout the whole recruiting process, and somebody gets bumped.
Well, Saban is actually in a position where, you know, if you're playing games, he'll pull the scholarship.
Yeah, and there's maybe 4 or 5 schools in the country that can do that.
Right. Yeah, he'll pull the scholarship and just say, hey, listen, if you're gonna waffle, we're gonna go with a guy who's just not gonna waffle, and we won't miss you. So
depending on how high of a recruit you are too.
Yeah, I mean, there are some recruits that are good enough where they'll just turn up the intensity, but
it
ain't a lot.
Right. If you a can't miss prospect, he'll be like, all right, what do we got to do? But
yeah, I feel like
not that high.
His can't miss prospects aren't waiting late in the process to decide to commit. He's getting those commitments early. Right. So, you know, I mean, I just think, you know, if you're a guy and you're like a fringe 4-star or something like that, and you know, they're trying to, you know, there's enough kids that are beating down the door to go to Alabama that they don't have to put up with that, right, at all. And they do such a good job of developing the kids that they have that, you know, if they miss on a guy here or there, there's probably some guy already on the team from the last recruiting cycle that is their next star. You just, you know, I mean, these kids, you know, I think it was important to just target guys who are a good fit rather than to chase stars.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, or you're going to waste time chasing a bunch of kids who are just going to waffle the whole time and then make a bad decision at the end of the process based on not good information.
And you're waiting until signing day, hoping that the commitment that they made pulls through, or the potential flip that you've been trying to court pulls through, as opposed to let's just go get solid and know who we've got so that we can manage our roster. It's like, all right, if you guys want to play around, that's fine, but I've got a roster I've got to fill out. So let me go find guys that I know fit, and maybe you are a better player than this other guy, but he's going to be just as good a fit for my program, and I can get him to play at your level with a little bit of development. And as long as you are doing a good job of managing the fact that you have depth at some place, then you can just, all right, we got time to develop this guy. Yeah, he was a 3-star today, but we can develop into a 4-5-star player on the field. But I've got guys who can fill in today, or I go do that via the transfer portal to get the immediate need addressed.
Yeah. All right. Gracie Skywalker says Robbie will be a wide receiver before he leaves Auburn. I think Robbie leaves. I think Robbie leaves Auburn before he becomes a wide receiver.
Exactly.
I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
Go and listen to our Building Report interview with Robbie. He will tell you himself that is not.
That ain't happening.
That's not a thing. That's not a real thing. Anybody pushing the narrative that Robbie Ashford will end up in the wide receiver room does not know Robbie Ashford.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll leave before that happens.
And he
or go play baseball. He has options. He won't do that.
Correct. I'm the King says, does Davis Harsin come to Auburn? Thoughts on this? How old is Davis right now?
He's a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he's sophomore
in
right
high
now.
school, or maybe he's going into he's either going to a sophomore. I think he's going to his sophomore year in high school. I have not seen the kid play. I don't know if he's actually good. I know he is the coach's son. That's all I know.
He's got some ability. I've seen his tape. You know, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, he looks decent. I don't know where he falls.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would want to play for my dad at this kind of things. It's like there's a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot of pressure.
Well, son, you're gonna come through. We're gonna be moving, so you better come through.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on both of them. Like, because you know, it's like you play your son and he plays poorly. You gotta bench him, or you know, people are just gonna swear it's because of nepotism. Like, it's just that's hard, man. I don't know.
I don't think, knowing Harsin though, do you think he would play his son if he wasn't the best guy?
No.
Nah.
Which again, that's a hard conversation to have with your son.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that's through most of the questions we got. I think we're at the end. I tell the people what they need to be doing right now with the season a month out.
Yeah, you need to go ahead and become a member. Get a part of the gang green. Get in here and make sure that you have a green name in our chat. $3.99 is the level where it gets you in there. $5.99 lets you take advantage of so much more. Again, we are going to be doing some great things as the season approaches, including giving away tickets to every game. So the first one is Mercer, of course, on September 3rd. We will be having a ticket giveaway that is going to be for our War Rapport members. So once again, $3.99 lets you get in there. $5.99 is patron level. We did it last year where if you were a patron, we gave you multiple entries. We'll probably do that same thing again. So we're looking forward to that. We have the interview going live tomorrow with young Jabari Austin for everybody. So if you have not had a chance to look at that because you are not a member, that is going to be available for everyone. But if you are a member, don't forget Coy Moore is available for you all. And that is member only currently. You want to definitely check out the conversation we had with Coy Moore to get in on that. If you didn't get an opportunity to win anything in our giveaway today, don't worry. Do not fret. You can just go over to our merch store, thewarreport.com. We have all of that merch available. Just click on the catalog to be able to purchase something and support us in that way. There are a lot of ways you can support. If you don't want to pay the monthly thing, you can go support in that way. Or you can do something like, I don't know, give a little money to a cause, right? You can go to our About section, and then you can check out that and you can give some money in that way. 50 cents on every dollar is going to be going towards that cause. So make sure that you guys lock in with that. So we appreciate everybody who's been supporting us in whatever way you're doing it. Just another quick tip to over here to the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. That is us on our podcast platform. Lock in with us for replays of this in audio format. If you want to be hands-free, just walking around listening to it in audio format, or if you want to hit some of that pod only or pod exclusive content, that is your place to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And again, shouts out to auburnsports.com for being sponsor of our midweek report show. Also, congrats to the winner of our AU t-shirt drawing. Guys, we want to thank you again for watching with us. You already know what to do. Please share this, guys, on your social media. You see the hashtag. Please use that when you share the video. Before you get out of here, smash that like button. If you happen to be new to our channel, you just found us, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are alerted when we do go live. Please interact with us on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The War Rapport. And on TikTok, you can find us at TW Rapport. That's it for now, guys. More content on the way. We'll definitely see you this weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.